catch up with the Bear Pen is my collection, my watch list of securities that I think are appropriate short positions. Of these 15, I actually have puts on 13 of them. Actually, is that right? That's not quite right. No, 11 of them, I beg your pardon. I'm actually have puts on 2 ETFs, which aren't in this list. One of the ETFs is SMH, the semiconductor one. And the hope here is that it does not cross above this line. If it does, I am out of there. The other ETF is Brazil, which I mentioned in the ETF review on Saturday. And I think it's pretty obvious why I'm bearish on EWZ. But anyway, let's go through the Bear Pen, which are just straight up stocks. And for what it's worth, I'll mention the handful of these in which I don't have a who cares about my positions. Let me just talk about these securities. Here's AMD. A lot of these you've seen before, but they're just acting beautifully. I just love what they're up to. This was all about the trend line, and boy, was it pitch perfect. I mean, this is like for the books. There's the trend line. It broke it here. Resistance, resistance, resistance. I mean, right to the penny. Wednesday was a very close shave. Terrifying. But Thursday it gave it up, and Friday it really gave it up. So this is looking real good. So one of my bigger positions is AMD. ARM. This has been a frustrating one. I'll mention I'm not in this one anymore. It's been very exasperating. But if AMD falls, I think this one will as well. But yeah, I've been kind of like very clumsy with this one, but it could still work out. Here's Caterpillar. This is growing into a bigger position because the puts just keep getting more valuable. As you can see, it's been pretty consistently sinking. And as you can also see, it's very, very high. The puts I own tend to expire at least 4 months out, in some cases 6 months, even more than a year. I'm giving myself a lot of time on these. Here's Cracker Barrel, which I never traded my entire life until this day. I bought puts when it was way up here, and that's worked out nicely so far. It's done a nice little tumble. As you can see, this has, for years now, been just grinding down in this series of scalloped falls, so that's pretty spiffy. CC, you've seen a bazillion times. This is one of my 2026 puts, and it is a honey of a top. The top itself spans about half a decade, and it'll take some time to crumble. Here's Estee Lauder, another item I'd never traded in my life, and I got puts on it just on Thursday. It's a little bit of a loss right now. Strictly speaking, this line should probably be way up here at this gap, but I'm being more cautious about it. So I've anchored it down here. Down here. And this has already lost the majority of its market cap. It may seem a little silly to short something that has lost a majority of its market cap, but the only real bottom is zero, right? Here's Halliburton, which I stupidly dumped my puts on, just idiotic. Just idiotic. I think I sold them here, and then it fell and fell and fell. It's probably going to fall a lot more. I think energy stocks are in tremendous trouble. I completely screwed up my energy plays this week. Well, there's only two. There's this one, and there was also XOP, which was glorious, and I made a tiny little profit on that, and it became a huge profit. So I'm a moron. What are you going to do? Here's Humana, which I've never traded before, but it's worth looking at. It's worth considering. It's been in this long ascending channel for years and years, decades really, but it seems to be breaking down nicely. And as the healthcare has proved, there's not a lot of love for healthcare companies. Here's Huntsman, another one you've seen in another 2026 put position. This one will take a while to play out, but it's a hell of a top, and it goes back for years. Eli Lilly. I got back into this one just on Friday. Nice little shooting star pattern there. Stop is right there, 846.46. But this is a very richly valued, as you can see. Lumen, I've had this one for a while. I've actually taken some profits on this. It's kind of a sloppy pattern. We went way into the pattern here, and to its credit, it did fall pretty persistently for a while. I mean, you know, how I wish the stock market looked like this, just day after day after day of losses. And I started to take profits here just because these are March puts, which for me is too close for comfort, you know, only 3 months away. And there might be some fight back in this thing. So I've eased out of a quarter of that position already. Here's a Nike, which I also don't have a position in. It's a little bit of a sloppy pattern, kind of a nice right triangle, but it is a bit sloppy. Here's a Novo Nordisk, which is doing okay, I guess. It's a nice top here, and I've got a hard stop there at the gap 111.79. And prospectively could have a lot more to go. Supermicro, this one I got out of, even though I have no real reason to. The gap has not been violated. If it's still stalled out below the gap on Monday, maybe I'll get back into it. You know, the old saw, where there's smoke, there's fire. That could play well here. These guys, I mean, down here there was talk of delisting the company because of fraud. I don't know. Did they just make it up? Are they pure as the driven snow? I don't know. Seems a little fishy to me. And the gaps is what I'm all about here. So, last of these, Wing, which is Wingstop, a place I would never even consider eating. Lovely shooting star pattern on this one, and could work out nice. We got some damage to this trend line. That is the end.